Tomorrow, a new edition of the Champions League begins, and in preparation for that, I believe that in today's video, we could go ahead and rank the top favorite teams to win the entirety of the competition. So, well, hello guys, ¿cómo están? I believe I need to open up this video by giving you a look at the teams that I believe are going to be progressing from the group stages. In my opinion, this season also seems to be very clear in terms of those who stand above the rest, with many teams out there just looking favorable in compared to others. At number 10, I'm going to be going with Julian Lopetegui's Sevilla. I really do like Sevilla this season. Last season they were amazing, but just one extra year in terms of experience under this manager, under these circumstances, under the same players can really help Sevilla get a better grasp of what they're facing in the UCL. I really do like also the group that Sevilla has, and very similar to Chelsea, they can potentially get that first place spot. If Sevilla are able to do that, they have enough chances to being able to get to the quarterfinal stages. And that will be a very huge grasp for Lopetegui and his team. Sevilla, if you take a look at them, they're one of those teams that know exactly what they play. And that is good enough, particularly, to go in the Champions League. If you do not speculate in the Champions League, if you know exactly what you need to do to win, which is play your own way, that's a great benefit. And if you add to that the hard-working mentality that some of the players have, like Ocampos, like John Jordan, like Jesus Navas, then I see no problem in Sevilla having a great Champions League. At number 9, I'm gonna go with Inter de Milan. Inter are just the same side but better. You have the incorporations of someone like Hakimi, the experience of someone like Kolarov, and the improvements of some players like Lautaro Martinez, like for instance D'Ambrosio, which just looks like a rejuvenated player. Let me tell you about that. You have a squad that is capable of certainly beating the teams that they have in their group, like Borussia Mönchengladbach and Shakhtar Donetsk, and even taking the game to Real Madrid. So if they're able to do that, and wherever they finish second or first, they're still going to be better far off than what they did last season. Europa League was certainly not at the level for Inter at that stage, and it's certainly not now. So I'm going to be putting some eggs in the basket of Inter, not particularly to maybe win the Champions League, but to get a pretty good campaign on the road. Conte staying is probably the best signing that they could have gotten. So in Inter, I believe that they have the faith to actually do something in this competition. And since we see other teams out there that are not particularly doing their best, especially the top tier teams, Inter could perhaps get a surprise here or there. So let's see how it goes. At number 9, I'm gonna go with Liverpool, and I do not really want to go too much in them because we all know what they do, we all know what they can cause, but there are two main reasons that makes me put them this low on the list. You may be quite surprised about actually them being 8th. And the thing is that, one, they do not have the fans to have the power of Anfield like they were before. I've been on first hand on Anfield, standing there, seeing how Liverpool thrashed Manchester City in the UCL, and let me tell you, it is how they say on the books, it is how everyone comments, it really is a fortress of sorts. But the thing here is also that they are missing Virgil van Dijk. Van Dijk just got injured in the Merseyside's derby against Everton, and we are in a very big question mark now. A very big mystery is approaching. How are Liverpool going to be able to defend without the best center back on the world currently? Well, it's going to be a quite interesting watch, I must say. And simply because of those reasons, I do not see Liverpool competing as well. Alisson is also injured for quite a bit, so it's going to be a very big miss. And if they're not able to get a good competent squad for the UCL when it starts in the knockout stages, then it's going to be a very tough ask for Liverpool to try and win it. At number 7, we have Juventus, and Juventus are currently suffering of what is called a rebuild, and that doesn't make them nearly as good as they can be. And that is one of the reasons why they are here. They certainly got quality in players like Ronaldo, like Dybala, like Kulusevski, which is really making a mark of his own in Serie A. But the limiting factor of just basically an incognito when it comes to this side in this biggest of occasions is one that leaves me kind of just eager for more information to really give you a right opinion on Juventus. If I'm watching it from an outsider perspective, the main two reasons why they are mounting a challenge is first of all Ronaldo, and the second one that Pirlo, in a way, being the midfielder that he was, he actually has created a kind of competent midfield with Artur, Rabiot, Betancourt operating there, Ramsey and Weston McKennie also entering the fold. You have a good midfielder, and those are the two reasons why I just feel they're good. But there are better teams, let's be honest. There are better teams in this list, in this competition still, that can win it all. In 6th, we're going with Real Madrid. And if Juventus are suffering of a rebuild, Real Madrid are suffering from a hangover. Because their team currently is competitive in a way. They're still relying on Benzema a lot to do the creation part of their final third game. But simply apart from that, they don't have that many assets. Hazard is not nearly the player that he was when he was at Chelsea. Vinicius still looks like a guy with no end product. Rodrigo, I don't know why Zidane doesn't show that much faith on him. And certainly Odegaard now being injured will not give them the right kind of consistency when they need to find a player that can fill that right wing position. The midfield is good as ever. The defense is improving with Mendy. And you could also say that someone like Carvajal is not as bad as he certainly was sometimes. But Real Madrid, apart from that, they are nothing more than what they were last season. I believe honestly that their squad is weaker, and because of that, I do not see how they're going to be mounting a challenge. They struggle against Manchester City. They didn't even touch Manchester City. So I don't know how they're going to be doing against the other teams up here on this list. At number 5, we have Atletico Madrid, and the thing about them is that honestly the incorporation of Suarez is a huge boost. Right now you also see that Joao Felix is getting more of trust from Simeone. You have the creator and you have your finisher. You have this systematic approach of winning some games, and they know how to close everything out. If you need a team to win you a game by 1-0, Atletico Madrid is that sort of side. But now you have the added extra of Luis Suarez can score you a free kick, Luis Suarez can score you an overhead kick. So from what it turns to be a 1-0 result, then you finally see a 2-0 result, you see a 3-0 result, and that for Atletico Madrid is just going to be a benefit. It's going to be an incognito to see whether Luis Suarez can perform better at Atletico Madrid than Barcelona, because we know that at Barcelona he struggled in the UCL, but basically the entire team did. So basically in a new, fresher environment, he can do better. At number 4, we have Barcelona, the last Spanish team here on the list. Barcelona are a mess, and that is something that simply cannot be hidden. But basically, just simply the slight steps taken to create a sort of rebuild for the team are good enough, because this team has the players to create any sort of challenge. They have the squad in it to actually perform against some of the sides. If you take the younger incorporations like a Pere, like a Trincao, Coutinho even entering is something fresh, is something new, something that they didn't have before. And that was the problem that Barcelona kind of struggled with in all of the results that they have gotten throughout these last few seasons. In Roma, in Liverpool, in Bayern Munich, they just look the same old side, the same sort of system, nothing really changed. And I can tell you guys, and you can tell me as well, if you have seen games from Barcelona, that they look a bit different. They do look as a team that can provide you with something else. That extra little bit of flair that they didn't have gotten before, they can blow you out of the park. Some of the games that we've seen so far, some of the kind of spells of 30 minutes really give you the prospect of something great happening later down the road. This team needs a lot more work, do not get me wrong, but because of simply the sheer amount of players that they have and those spell of 30 minutes, you can get out of something in the UCL, you can get wins like that. I do feel that they can do something here, but they are certainly not the favorites. At number 3, we have Bayern Munich. They are still an incredible side. I would like to see a lot more though still, because the team in them that we've seen last season is not reached that yet. It's kind of like they're kind of tuning up the gear, the engines, to get it back to where the machine was before. And that is something that, of course, I'm going to give them. The time that Bayern Munich have gained of just completing a treble is amazing. But I also do look at their squad and see a team that is clearly weaker. While someone like Coutinho and Perisic gave you different options from the bench, you take a look at what they have right now is not nearly as good. A veteran in someone like Javi Martinez can simply help you to close a game out. And having someone like Thiago starting every single game is a huge boost. Now you have to rely on someone like Corentin Tolisso to put in a work shift here and there. Pavard has to be your right back no matter what, and that is something that for Bayern is going to be a difficult ask. I still believe that they are going to be able to win most of their games in this competition, but those last few stages, that semi-final, that final, might be where something is changing. So let's wait and see how Bayern Munich develop, but of course you still have to be an admirer of what Hansi Flick has done so far. At number 2, I have selected Manchester City, and well, to be completely honest, I just watched the replay of Sterling missing that goal against Olympique de Lyon, and I wanted to push Manchester City even further down. But the thing with Man City currently is that they just need to win the UCL. Like, they just have to put all of their eggs in one basket. And even though the Premier League may be up for grabs after Liverpool are not looking as strong as before, Pep Guardiola just desperately needs this competition. There's no easy way to say that. Ruben Dias, the addition of him has been looking good. I have to admit, their defense looks a little bit more solid, but still there are some certain holes that needs to be fixed. Agüero coming back is a huge boost for them. Gabriel Jesus being injured, not so much. But basically for me, the thing that really stands out for them is that they have that return to the two-legged affair, the two-legged ties that could be a blessing in disguise for them. Whilst for instance, the first leg against a team like Lyon could have gone completely wrong, they still had that thing in the end. They still had another opportunity to clear up the gap. And that is something that City, I believe, are going to be relishing in this competition. So far, City still look as competent as ever. I want to say that they are perhaps worse, but the reality is that the squad that they have is good enough. It's good enough to win a UCL. They just have to get, to be honest, a little bit lucky. And last but not least, my clear favorites to win the entire thing are Paris Saint-Germain. I think that PSG did well enough to get to the final last season, and I believe they can replicate this affair. I really do think with the team that they have and the corporations they have gotten through the door, they look like a much better side. One, Florenzi looks just a complete improvement of Thomas Meunier. Meunier is a player that I believe we can all praise for his work there at Paris, but the thing is that Florenzi is just simply much better suited to what Thomas Tuchel wants out of his side. But really, the incorporations of players like Danilo Pereira can just give them an entire revolution to their side. You can therefore then push Marquinhos back into the hold, and what looked like a problem in not having a replacement for Thiago Silva now looks more clear than ever. Pereira is a very good player, and this PSG side have realized really that they do not need to sign superstars to win the competition. They already have them in their squad. What they need is just simply more of a workhorse type of side. When I look at this PSG team and what they wanted to do in the UCL last season, I believe they are competent enough. They have the best squad, in my opinion, to try and win it. Their best opportunity by far. And they're going to be having very difficult matches. Of course, every single team is going to be doing so. But if I had to put my money on it, I would put them on them. I do feel that they have in them what it takes to win the UCL. And taking that experience of reaching a final, which they hadn't gotten before, is going to be a great boost for them. So yeah, even though many of us can hate PSG, I believe that they are the favorites to win this competition, this edition of the Champions League. That's going to be everything for today, guys. Hope you have enjoyed. This is certainly not going to be a huge analytical video like the ones that we've done in the past, but I just want to have a little more fun and share my opinions on what I feel are the favorites to win the Champions League. Once again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Ciao, ciao.